We are live.
Live.
That's what it says. We can both read, so that's good.
Yep, that's nice.
Also a plus when you're talking to people, being able to read. Jared Lawrence, we are here again, PNL Live. Look, what we're trying to accomplish with this live show weekly is give people a quick, digestible rundown of what happened last week in the NCAA and what is happening, especially the bigger events that are happening this year or this week in the NCAA. So, is there anything that you want to go over quickly before, like, so notable things from last week that you can kind of draw a circle around, Lawrence?
Well, I think one thing that we should talk about is just the RPI, right? Like we talked a little bit about it's going to affect the opens. And I see some opens it's happening and some they're not sending all their guys to. Now, some might think are hurt, right? But I don't know that there's with the new RPI, you have winning percentages, you have the coaches poll, right? That's what's basically going to rank into NCAAs.
Sure.
Those three things.
Right.
So like when you look at like Matt Ramos, realistically, because he lost to a high school kid, it has no relevance.
None.
On anything. Like if he were to go undefeated the rest of the year, he should be the number one seed at the NCAA tournament because 100%. He was beat by a high school kid. But I worry a little bit that some of these college coaches are nervous about sending their guys in. They're just a little gun shy because they're not totally ready. And if you're not 100% ready or your weight's not under control, you're not going to wrestle as good. And then all of a sudden your RPI standing could get hurt. So, it's real tricky. I totally understand where they're coming from, but me as a fan, I want the best matches. You know,
right? And like a lot has been said. Whether it be the FRL guys or even like locally in my house, right? Like how much has been said about like, holy smokes, these high school kids entering these college opens, they're so advanced. And I'm not taking anything away from Bassett, who, by the way, PNL kid wrestles, for Jody out at Young Guns. He and Jax Forrest had great showings at the Clarion Open. Bassett won the dang thing. I mean, that's pretty impressive, right?
Super impressive.
But I don't want to say that this is like the first time in history that this has happened. I think you and I talked about this online. Like, I mean, Kerry Colott was winning matches at a college level when he was in high school. That was back in the 90s, dude. Chance Marsteller, as an 8th grader, went 2-2 at the East Stroudsburg Open. That's an 8th grader.
Yeah.
that's banana at a middleweight. It's bananas. So to think that this hasn't happened before is crazy.
No,
now
Damian Hahn did the same thing.
That's right. He went to the U.S. Open, beat Branch.
He went to the U.S. Open, beat Branch. I think Branch was graduated at the time. I'm not 100% on that, but he, I think I talked to Hahn a little bit as we were talking about this. He beat 2 All-Americans his senior year in high school. It might have been the same East Strasburg Open. It was one of those opens. There was 2 of them there, and he ended up getting beat in the finals by a 3-time All-American.
Yeah.
Right. So it is happening. Like it's out there. I think it's awesome that it's coming. I mean, Marcus Blaze, he beat Matt Ramos, who's number 1 ranked college guy at 125.
But here's the thing that kind of like skews that result in my mind. Matt Ramos is a different Matt Ramos in freaking February, March than he is in November. Okay. Let's be completely honest about it. Marcus Blaze, Bo Bassett, Jax Forrest, that's kind of their Super Bowl, right? Like that is like, that Clarion Open.
They've been training very hard for this versus the college guys are just like, they're just starting.
Yeah. Like, and like, why would you put any bearing on, like, if you're Matt Ramos? So who cares, right? Like, this is a way to get acclimated down to 125 again after what I would assume was a less than active off season because of the surgery. So it's like, look, this is a kid that is a national finalist for a reason, beats Spencer Lee in the semis, and the kid's an absolute hammer. We can't allow that loss to affect our thought process of the kid in the future. I don't think. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, I think you're 100%. I think he's completely different, and he's a gamer, right?
He's a gamer.
So,
Yeah.
like, when you're wrestling a high school kid, it's hard to be gamed for that because it's a high school kid. But realistically, the high school kid, we should probably see more high school kids entering these opens because they have nothing to lose.
Nothing
You
to
know?
lose.
So they're the complete underdogs. They have no pressure. They have no, anything. Like, it's just, so it's interesting, right? Latona gets beat. He does not
see,
like
but that does have some bearing, right? Like that does have an effect.
That will have an effect.
And we actually brought up Latona last week, I believe, right? Like he got burned at the
2 years ago, and we were talking about this. So this is where coaches are going to start. Like, if your athlete is not 100% ready, they might just not enter you in some of these events. And as I'm looking up results and trying to find tournaments, I know, like, South Dakota State, they're going to the Bison this weekend, but they're not sending their full team. Next weekend, the Daktronics, the Gophers are not sending their full team. So these open tournaments are just, if you're ready, it's good. I don't like that, to be honest, from a fan standpoint. I want to see.
But here's the thing, though, Lawrence. Right, like we talk about that problem. We've talked about people medical forfeiting out of the conference tournament, knowing full well that they're going to get
that's now lost, though. You can't. So before, what some schools were doing, right? Bison Open, you might have a guy that's coming off an injury, right? Let's just say Pat McKee. Mm-hmm. He's coming off a knee surgery. He is not wrestling at the Bison this weekend. But if he were, just for them to be like, hey, we're going to get a couple first rounds in just to get your weight down and get you a couple matches, and then we're going to get to the semis and we're going to withdraw. Well, you can't do that now. Right. So it just changes. It changes the dynamics of it, and that's kind of what people were doing. And now they're just like, well, we can't wrestle because if we forfeit out, that's a loss.
You actually are taking those losses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else in terms of looking backwards first? This past week, I called the CBU Iowa match. So that was Big 12 action. Big 10, Big 12 action. Look. I talked to Coach Moore afterwards, and he was like, almost like, look, we are, and here's the thing. There's no moral victories in the NCAA. I don't care what anyone says. This is a business. You were in the business of winning wrestling matches in that singlet. However, it looks like a bludgeoning on paper, and it wasn't much nicer in person. However, there's some wins in there. They put 4,600 people in an arena in Southern California to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, Jared Lawrence. Like, that's like, if we're selling the sport to anybody, we got to make sure that we're putting butts in the seat, and we put butts in the seat at CBU. Is that a moral victory? Call it what you want. I don't know. But I think it's a big deal, man. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. You know what else is a big deal is ESPN putting on their first duel.
Yes.
We need to somehow, and I know we only have like 50 followers, so it's going to be really hard to get our fans to make sure they go there for that. But like, if we want ESPN to put more wrestling matches on and more showcases, we have to have good ratings. So this is where the wrestling community needs to get together. And even if you don't have to watch the whole duel, but you need to click on it.
Yeah.
And at least get those hits in so that in the future of wrestling, ESPN has a place.
100% ESPN, Fight Pass. These guys, but here's the thing. And here's why. And again, I can't trust me, I am not a flow homer. they can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. But here's the thing. Here's the truth about it. If we are going to all rally around the idea of putting wrestling on ESPN, putting wrestling on Fight Pass and stuff like that, we have to kind of demand a little bit more from those big companies, okay? Because as of right now, it's really hard to so let's talk about ACC, right? You go on their ACC app, it's really difficult to find matches. It's not easy. It's not intuitive. I need more forward-facing and ease of use. And the same thing's going to apply with like a Fight Pass or an ESPN. You need to find a way. And again, this is more manpower than it is anything else, because how much manpower is ESPN going to really devote towards wrestling? I'm not sure. But somebody has to cut up the matches individually and label them. Like that's a thing. And you have to do it, because that's where a lot of the residual benefit and value is going to come from, not just the live stream. Because in today's technological age, everyone wants to have their stuff archived. And I think that if we are going to trumpet, wrestling on ESPN, wrestling on Fight Pass, that's great, but we need to start demanding from them, like, hey, it's not just like, thanks for putting on wrestling. Hey, let's invest a little bit in wrestling, which they're obviously doing. But if you remember correctly, up until not too long ago, ESPN did not put every single match from the NCAA tournament on ESPN. It was all kind of like, all right, quarters on. And then before that, it was just the finals. There was a time where it was just the finals that were on there. So they do listen to us. We all ask for, hey, you have this streaming network, just put it on. We'll figure it out. Like, we will watch it. And we did. And so I think what we have to do is give them feedback. We need to make sure that these things are done well, not just done for the sake of doing it. They need to be done well. And that's my soapbox.
All right.
What else do we have as far as looking back from this
last
past
week?
weekend?
We had Nebraska versus NDSU, but like we had kind of talked about, NDSU lost 3 starters, three, All-Americans, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if their heavyweight was an All-American off the top of my head, but they definitely lost 2 All-Americans, right? So they did end up winning. Nebraska ended up winning 7 matches to 3. But that was kind of, I think, probably a little expected.
Yeah. He's going to go through some growing pains in Bison country out there for sure, especially losing those studs. God, and again, I got to see 2 of them. They were wrestling in black and gold this weekend. Caliendo looks great.
I think that's all I got from results, other than, like you had Bozakis, he lost at the Clarion Open, right? I was looking forward to see him and Bassett just because it's a, PNL guy. I was looking to watch that, but they didn't. But it's interesting because you have Latona and Bozakis both got beat at Opens last week,
And that brings us to this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Dude, I'm fired up for tonight, dude. So for those of you that don't know, Ohio State is going to Blacksburg and wrestling Virginia Tech. These are some of the best teams in the country. And I think what we're seeing, it's awesome, right? Because this was not the case when you and I were growing up. ACC is probably, and shame on me for saying this, but ACC is probably the second best conference in the country as of right now. And it's kind of, it's edging that margin a little bit more. Am I crazy for saying that?
No. I mean, you have the ACC, you have, Big 10, Big 12, right? Those are all going to be your main powerhouses, and then all these other ones, but everything is growing now. I mean, just wrestling is getting really fun. So I don't know. This duel is going to be amazing. Not just like you have high end guys, but you have like Connor Brady, Bryce Hebner that are like number 16 versus number 18.
Number 16 versus number 18, and okay. So let's run through the one. That's the one. That is the swing match of the entire duel. I'm glad we landed on that together, because that's a really tough matchup to call. I have it as Brady by minor decision, but that is a 1-point match either way.
Yeah, this duel can go so many different ways. I mean, Andonian Gallagher, like Andonian was supposed to win. He's 6 versus 16, but Patty Gallagher, man, he's tough. He's very tough. Like there's just so many matches. It's going to be great. I mean,
let's run through the matchups one by one if we can. So at 125, it's Vinny Kilkiri against Eddie Ventresca. Now, Ventresca, 27th seed last year at the NCAA tournament, wrestles back to 7th. I think he All-American at 7th last year as the 27th seed. That's awesome in and of itself. he is a pretty positionally sound wrestler.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, real good head hands, real good hand fight. And then on the other end of the spectrum, this kid Kilkiri. Now, a lot of people that are just NCAA wrestling fans may not know much about him. He is a freshman, but the kid's kind of a junker, right? Like he's kind of like
well, he loves the headlock.
Headlock. So good at a headlock.
He loves the headlock.
Yes.
All right. He happens to be a PNL guy, which is weird. It's weird that comes up again.
What? This is kind of the only reason we're here.
Another Young Guns. He's a Young Guns guy. So
he is, but he's a junker, dude. Like so. So why does that matter? Well, guys that are junkers usually have success early, especially early. Excuse me. Right, because before the book is out on these kids, they're throwing headlocks and chin whips and stuff like that.
They don't know it yet.
Because the other people that they're wrestling haven't seen it yet. So I have it right now as Ventresca by minor decision.
Yep.
And I think that's the
safe bet.
That's the safe bet.
Yep.
But just so we're clear, if Kilkiri goes out there and rips a headlock, I'm telling you, I'm going to be going bananas in my off my couch. Like my dog will absolutely hate me doing this, but not that I'm rooting for anyone. I don't care who wins, but just to see that type of a curveball is really fun for NCAA wrestling. And it means a little bit more now with a 3-point takedown, 4-point near fall, right? Because now all of a sudden you can skate, you can put your skates on for 6.5 minutes if you go out there and throw a headlock in the first 30.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You can. So that's a heck of a start. Mm-hmm. Then you have Bozakis versus Latona.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like Latona's on paper, right? But Bozakis is like he is like the strongest man alive, is what I was told.
Yeah, he is abnormally strong for 133 pounds. Okay. I don't know how to. So you and I have actually talked on a different podcast about whether you would like, if you could build a wrestler, would you rather them be longer and lankier, or would you rather them be shorter and stockier? So how do you think body type plays into this matchup?
Well, they both are really good at what they do. Like Latona's really good at using his length.
Yeah.
And Bozakis is really good at being strong. I think the biggest thing for me would be, where is Bozakis on his weight cut? Brandon Paulson was on the U20 team, and this guy was like drinking Monster as he was cutting weight.
That's not great.
Like as he was losing like 15 pounds, he was drinking Monster, right? So I'm hoping that his weight cutting skills have gotten better since he's been in college, but that's hard, man. When you can get by with doing things wrong. Yeah. That can play into it, right? So if his weight's under control and he can go really hard, if he can withstand and keep going, the full 7 minutes and be as strong as he is for 7 minutes, like he's scary.
Yeah, he for sure. And I think one of the things that I was in that Ohio State room quite a bit last year. And one of the things that I love about what Jaggers and Tom and Logan do, they don't leave anything to chance. And when I say that, I mean nutritionally, strength.
They have the resources.
Right. God knows they have the resources. They leave zero to chance. And something tells me that the weight cut will be dialed in. Because last year they knew it was an issue, right? Like, I don't know if you watched that documentary that was on Flow, I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch it, but I was there and I did produce the first 2 episodes, and he was struggling at the Michigan State Open last year. So opening weekend last year, he was on the struggle bus. He was not having fun making 33. Now
hopefully
that said,
he's got it down, but that's a big match if they're ready. Latona just needs to
That's a monster match, and I'm going to give the nod to Latona because of the mat wrestling. Freshmen historically struggle on the mat in their first season of full competition. I'm giving the nod to Latona +3 to the Hokies on that one.
Okay.
How are you feeling with that one?
I think that's it. It's tricky, and I think all the coaches are smart right now. And if Latona has the length, he just needs to go. He needs to be smarter and go lower. Do not mess with Bozakis and his hips. If he can get down on some low ankles, Latona loves a knee pull. If he can get below the knee on his knee pull, he can score. You go above the knee on your knee pull, you're going to be fighting some really strong hips. So it's, I think that's probably the safe bet.
Okay. Jesse Mendez versus Mac Church. Mendez is a kid that I love because of the way that he approaches the practice room. The kid is just, he goes hard, but everyone goes hard on NCAA level. One of the things that I love about him is he is dialed in to improving every practice. And I think this one gets away from Mac Church, and I like Jesse Mendez by major decision. Am I crazy?
No, I could see that too. And we've wrestled Mac Church. He's another PNL guy. He's another Young Guns guy. Young Guns has people on every
crushing it,
side
dude.
Right now. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
But we've wrestled him, and he can be flustered.
Yeah.
Right, with the pace.
Yeah.
So if it gets away from him, if it's close, he's in. But if it gets away from him,
it can get ugly.
It can change things a little bit. So
yeah, that's not okay. Now the next one, I kind of see the other direction. Caleb Henson against Dylan D'Amelio. Now the thing about D'Amelio, I think he's a grad student or COVID senior or whatever you want to call it now, but he's stepping in for the injured Sammy Sasso. And Caleb Henson, he's a younger kid. I think he's a sophomore. But Caleb Henson is a kid that smells blood in the water, right? Like, don't give this kid a 2 takedown lead because he's going to open it up on you. Now, that said, I don't know that he'll be able to pull off bonus points because D'Amelio is a seasoned Big Ten vet, but I do see it being a 6-point, 7-point differential in favor of Caleb Henson. What do you got?
Yep, I would agree. I'm going to go less than that. I'm going to say the match is going to be real close, but I would say I'm going to put it in Henson's fan just because he's got some young. But let's talk about this. D'Amelio's a backup for Sammy Sasso, and he's ranked 5th in the country.
Bananas. So it's funny that you say that. Is this going to be like, so especially as we look
4 and 5 in the country right now,
bro, this is, and what's cool about that is I think what we're going to see tonight, if I'm not crazy, is this might be Ohio State's coming out party. Like, hey, we're for real. If they go out there and drop 30 on the Hokies in Blacksburg, that is making a big, bad statement that like, hey, we're here to contend this year for a national title. And who knows? It's not crazy to like, listen, everyone's given Penn State the trophy, right? Everyone's given them the trophy already because they have 2 25-point machines that are a lock, as much of a lock as you can get in the NCAA. But I think that if you look up and down this Ohio State lineup, they think they can win. I truly believe that. Like, I talk to those guys periodically. They truly believe that they can win. And you're right. He's a backup and he's ranked number, 5 in the country?
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, dude. How do you see this one going here? So you're going Henson? Yep.
Henson by just a slight decision.
Okay. So we're kind of on both. We're both on the same page.
We're both on the same page.
Okay. 157. This one has the makeup of being another one of those swing bouts. Okay.
Yeah. Now, were these guys high school? Did they wrestle on
St. Ed's?
Yeah, they're both St. Ed's guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Andonian Patty G couldn't be a more different. So ironically, they did wrestle in the same high school, but they couldn't be more different in terms of style of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, talk to me a little bit about the styles there.
Well, they're opposites, right? Andonian is going to throw fireworks out, and he can throw up points in any situation possible, but he can also get scored on by doing that, right? I mean, he's like Dylan Ness. Dylan Ness could throw some stuff, but he lost. He gave up 5 points all the time too.
Yeah. But now that five now becomes 7.
Correct.
Don't forget, like, that is a big freaking factor in this.
Yep.
And you're right. Patty G has a very positional style of wrestling. He's a hand fight to a high crotch kind of kid. Hand fight to a high crotch kind of kid. Just, he is as meat and potatoes as it comes in wrestling.
And he's going to go after your lead leg. He's got a good knee pull too. So he's going to hand fight, knee pull, hand fight, high crotch, hand fight, fake, snap, run corner. Right now, Andonian might know that because they wrestled him, but he also is going to know what Andonian is going to try to, you get into some of these upper body positions, and instead of
nightmare. He's a nightmare.
It's just, I don't know, man. This is a complete, Andonian's got it on paper because he's 10, seeds ahead, but
yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. No, look, here's the thing. If the Buckeyes want to really blow this open, they keep it real close in the first 2 periods with Andonian. Like, I'm talking about, I would thumb block and circle out, and I wouldn't let that kid touch me for the first 2 periods. And then hopefully you pull on his head enough in the third, you sneak one out if you're Patty G. Because, look, anytime you get caught up in some of those control ties with a kid like Andonian, you're going to pay for it. And it might not even be paying for it in points. You might have to pay for it in, like, I got to wrestle through these positions, and now I'm not ready to get back to my offense. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And I think one of the things that I love about Andonian is that, like, he's just such a gamer too. So I think with the lights on, I think he pulls out not only a win here, but I think he goes big and gets bonus points. So I got him a +4 as a major. What do you got over there?
To be honest, I'm the same.
Really? So okay. Wow.
I think his scrambling is going to overwin. That's what I just think he can scramble better. And I love the guy because he's so exciting.
He's exciting.
He can score from everywhere. And with the new points being where they are with takedowns and near fall, I mean, he's going to get a 7-point move in there.
Jeez Louise, 7-point move. And just saying it is like, holy crap, man. And he's got by the way, kid's got attitude. And I mean that in the best way possible. Like, the kid just has, like, that moxie to him constantly. Yep. It's fun to watch.
If Patty can keep it close, like you said, and stay basic, and basically you get to third period where people are a little sweaty, and Andonian tries to, go for something big, and that's where that's where he needs to wrestle, I feel like. He's got to keep the match close and let Andonian make mistakes on his own.
165.
Whether he can do that or not, I don't know. I don't have it on paper, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, look, I get it. And like, again, this is Patty's. I'm not saying it's a Super Bowl because the NCAA tournament will be a Super Bowl, but, like, this is for sure one of the key bouts in his season. He's circling this. So hopefully he's up for the task. But yeah, I got it +4 for the Hokies on that one. Now, 165. This is the one that I mean, it's a toss-up, number one, but it's a really, really important toss-up, right? Because I think it's like, what, 14 and 16 in the country as of right now?
16, well, it depends on where you're at. They're 2 away. Whether it's 16 and 18 or, 14, 16, doesn't matter. Have they wrestled yet? How do we find that out? I wish I could.
Gotcha. Go ahead. Keep talking about them right now.
So Intermat Wrestle used to have this thing where you could click on the guy and just stats would sum up. Like, when I was trying to do my brackets at NCAA, I lived on Intermat Wrestle because you could click on the guy and you could find out who he's wrestled, wins and losses, and different things like that. And now I don't know what site to go to because it doesn't. They don't allow you to click on anybody. It's just
WrestleStat is pretty good. WrestleStat is pretty good.
Well, maybe that is the new one. I'm going to switch over to that one. Come on, hit
Yeah,
me. Have they wrestled?
working on it. Give me a second. Golly. I'm using the Googleator too. And Connor Brady.
Because that might be, this might depend on where I vote.
Yeah. Okay.
You're getting long.
Yeah. Okay. So Hepner beat him 3-2 decision.
3-2. All right, I'm going to go Virginia Tech because I want this to be a tight duel.
Yeah. You're picking with your heart now. But yeah, I guess that is as much of a toss-up as you can get, right?
Yeah, 3-2. They wrestled once. It's 3-2. They're 16. They're 18 in the country. I'm going to go VTech because I want. I see a couple other ones swinging the other way, so I'm going to try to see what happens here.
Okay, I actually have the opposite. I have Ohio State on that one. I have Hepner. So that is the first one that we disagree on. But something tells me that we might disagree on this next one too. 174, Karchla up at 74 versus Makai Lewis at 174. Now, I think that we talked about a difference in styles. These guys are a little bit more similar in styles. Makai is really tough to score on. Like
really
he's
hard.
not going to go out there and put 10 points on the board in almost any situation, but he's not giving up more than a takedown. And even that is really tough to see Karchla getting to a leg and finishing it. I think I've said this on a different podcast before, but I can remember Makai Lewis coming into my room when he was like a sophomore in high school on a live night. Jared Lawrence, I had this kid's leg in the air for what felt like a month. And I'm a grown-ass man going, why can't I finish on this stupid kid? You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's brutal to score on. You couldn't pay me enough to touch his legs in the NCAA. No way, no how.
If there was an upset to happen, this would be it.
This is
because Karchla's got that. He's got foreign in him.
Yeah, he's got a little Russian in him. He does.
So when he gets to a leg, it's going to be a different feel.
Yeah.
That Makai Lewis has. Like that might be the strongest person that you have like squeezing your leg, and it's that changes things.
So one of the things you say, he's got a little foreign in him. What that means to me, it means that they have ways of so and this is my observation about especially like the Europeans. They have ways of scoring without touching their legs, right? They have those sneaky little elbow control things. They've got these little duck things that they can do. They can kind of like trip you, right? So, and when I say without touching a leg, I mean without grabbing a leg and single leg or high crotch or whatever. That's what is, and I guess we're going in the same direction here. I think it might be Karchla by a squeaking out 1 point victory, but I like Karchla in this situation simply because I know that he can score without having to go to a single leg, because you couldn't pay me enough to go to a single leg on Makai Lewis. No chance.
Yeah.
How are you feeling on this one?
How is Makai Lewis injury-wise? Right?
I don't know the guys in Blacksburg all that well. I mean, Jared Freyer and I have spoken a couple times, but I don't know. I
don't know how long he's been full healthy, things like that. I'm still going to take him.
You got Makai. Okay. Okay.
Makai.
So, all right. So you have Makai
I
on
think
that
if there is an upset, this is going to be one of those matches that's upset. But well, you know what? It's really hard to upset somebody when you can't score on them. That's what I'm going with. If you can't really score on somebody, it's super hard to beat them.
So so what's interesting to me is, who do you have winning the mat battle there? Because Makai's, he wrestled for Boundbrook High School in high school. And I know for a fact that those guys really, for a high school team, especially in the state of New Jersey, they really focused on mat wrestling a lot. Now, he has not been a top wrestling dynamo so to
No,
speak,
he can ride.
but he can ride, right? Like he's not like
Yeah.
putting on Spencer Lee stats where he's just turning and pinning everyone, but the dude can ride when he needs to ride. So that might be the difference in this
Yep.
match.
And Hartford's not as good on the mat. He's good. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
he's not as good on the mat, which matters.
we have seen him suffer on the mat for sure.
Yep.
All right, so you have it +3 for Mackay. I have it +3 for Karchla.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and 184. So we might have some insight here. It looks like your boy might get the nod. It looks like your boy Ryder Ragazzi might get the nod here at 100.
Gavin Hoffman is hurt, right? He's not in.
Well, he's not. I don't think he's hurt. He's actually just making a descent to 84. So first of all, this is another. So if you want to talk about like red flags, this is a good red flag. This is okay. This is a kid, Gavin Hoffman, who All-American at 97 2 years ago. He is making a descent to 84 for the team, okay, because Geog is moving into the lineup at 97. This is another indicator for me that, like, hey, these Buckeyes are for real. They're not messing around. They are making a serious stab at a national title. Now, 84, they've got a lot of options. They have Shoemate. They have Ryder Ragazzi. They have Gavin Hoffman, who's making a descent to 84. And they have Rocco Welsh, who, you know, depending upon who you ask, was one of the top 5 recruits coming out of high school last year. So they have a ton of options on the mat at 184 pounds. And Andy Smith is tough. Don't get me wrong. Andy Smith is tougher than hell. Okay. But Sam Fisher. Sorry. Sam Fisher is tougher than hell. But I like a lot of those guys. I love that the 184 pound gauntlet that is in the Buckeye room. So I don't care who goes for the Buckeyes. I say it's +3 right now.
You think the Buckeyes are going to get +3?
I do. And I don't even know who's going to go, right? Because as of right now, I spoke to a couple people out there, and it was Ryder, maybe
It could be
Rocco.
Yep. But you're also throwing in a guy like Ryder Ragazzi. Now, this guy could, like, he's like Andonian. If he finds a way to get you on your back, he will pin you. He will pin you. If you get to your back, you're going to get pinned.
Man, now, could you imagine?
But now he gives up points very easy. But here is where I would say Ryder Ragazzi's best position is bottom.
Shut up.
He does. So before he was a Pinnacle guy, right? He was a Pinnacle way back when he was like in kindergarten. And then we lost him for a few years. So he was like a 7th and 8th grader, and we had guys wrestling him, and we were like, do not even think about riding him. You cut him right away. Because we were taking him down and then losing. All of a sudden it's now 5-2 because he does this like little Peterson roll, right? And he's so strong, and his hips are really shifty. So he has a set of moves on bottom that allow him to be really shifty because he's got this lat whip that he can get with. He has a switch that he plays with it. He's got this Peterson roll that he can do. I'm telling you, we would cut him all the time. We were like, take him down. Just take him down. Don't try to ride him. Do not.
Stay off the top. Yep. Okay, we're running a little bit long here.
Yep, but Sam Fisher is a 21 ranked guy in the country. So like you have a freshman that is unranked, that is a true freshman. Like
he's squirrely.
Yep.
So
I don't know. I want to take my boy as much as I can, even if I don't know if he is going to wrestle. Right, Rocco Wells could easily be in that mix too. But I have a hard time doing it over a 21 ranked guy in the country.
What? How long has Sam Fisher been in college? Let's see.
He is
a redshirt junior. Okay.
You know,
So yeah,
so
he's been around the block, dude. He's been around the block.
yeah, I feel like I got to go with my gut though, and go with my guy, right?
All right.
If it's a possibility. Now, if it's not my guy, I might take Sam Fisher. But if it's right or Ragazzi, yeah, I gotta vote for him.
I don't know, man. I'm no matter what happens, I'm liking the Buckeyes there at 184 pounds. Okay, 97. Andy Smith, Luke Geog. This kid Geog is they love him in Columbus. They love him. He's first of all, redshirt freshman getting the nod at 197 pounds over a returning All-American. Well, from 2 years ago, but you got to know that they're investing in this kid Geog, right? And
where's he from?
He's right there in Columbus, like literally, like he goes home to his mom and dad's house.
He's been training at their RTCs for a while.
Yes, 100%. And again, like hometown kid, puts butts in the seats, and by the way, also can wrestle his tail off. And he's one of those kids that kind of flew under the radar a little bit in high school. You know, he had some really, really solid results towards the end of his high school career. But yeah, they absolutely love this kid Geog in Columbus. And I know Andy Smith is a stud as well, but I'm going to take the Buckeyes again here at 197 pounds.
Okay.
What do you got there, brother?
It's a toss-up for me. I'll go the other way.
Okay.
I don't know if that's right or not, right? You got a freshman, you got a, verse, so I just, I don't know much about either of them, so I'm just going to take the higher ranked.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I still want this duel to come down to the end, so I got to throw Virginia Tech.
So you're just going to chuck up Hokie points. No, that's fair, because it is going to be a fun duel. Now, this is the one that I have circled. It's 285. Nick Feldman, Hunter Katka. I understand that this is a big set of shoes to fill, but I'm being told that, especially as he was coming out of high school, Nick Feldman was the next heavyweight guy for a long time. Now he's dealt with some injury. He did have a broken, neck. So there's that. I still think skill for skill, he is as skilled as anyone in the country at the heavyweight weight class. Now, Hunter Katka is a son of a gun to deal with. He is a son of a gun, and he's a grown man, and
But he's not much older, right? Is he? I think he's only a year ahead. And that's
redshirt junior. Okay. So yeah, 2 years ahead.
Got it.
But he's got Jim Mullen in the room with him now. But yeah, Katka's really, really good. I think Feldman wins, but I think it's real close.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out.
What are you looking for?
I was trying to see if I'm trying to go through some alike opponents.
Well, how about Jim Mullen? Right? Like Jim Mullen is in the Virginia Tech room. He's a redshirt freshman or true freshman, probably a true freshman now. But I've seen they were 1 and 2 in the country. Nick Feldman and Jim Mullen were 1-2 in the country, and Feldman teched them. I mean, wow. So it's like,
got it.
This kid's good. I mean, he's like, again, it's hard to say like he's the next Gable or he's the next whatever, because you don't like, there's so many different factors that go into that. But by all accounts, skill for skill, this kid could wind up being really, really great. And he's got a lot of the assets that it takes to be great at NCAA wrestling. He is abnormally strong. And I'm not saying that just in a wrestling sense. Like I saw him squatting 450, 4 and change with a broken neck. Like, holy smokes, this kid could put up some weight, and like, I also I know that who's the kid from UVU that transferred to Ohio State for his last 2 years. He's an All-American for Utah Valley. He's a heavyweight last year for the Buckeyes. I can't think of the kid's name. Ginger kid. Good Lord, it's going to drive me nuts.
You look it up. I was actually.
I will.
I was looking up. I was trying to figure out. I'm doing my math now to figure out who I have. Coming through on this, man, and it's going to be closer than I thought.
The duel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first looked at it, I thought Ohio State kind of had it. I thought they had it like like maybe
Orndorff. Jeez Louise, that was driving me nuts. I'm sorry, Tate Orndorff. Sorry.
But now,
you think it's gonna be closer, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm giving that 285 bout to Feldman. Who do you have at 285?
I'm gonna go the same, Feldman.
Okay. So I've tallied up my scores. What is your final duel score on paper so far?
I didn't add up the bonus points, right? Like I have Andonian getting bonus points. So
okay. I have Mendez and Andonian getting bonus.
Yeah, and I think that is I would do the same.
Okay.
But 25, 33, 41, 49. I have Virginia Tech winning 6 matches, I think. Go back and make sure.
As of right now, I have Virginia Tech winning 3 bouts. Okay, because I took Ohio State in a couple of different upsets. I have Virginia Tech winning 25, 49, and 57. Now, again, these are especially in the middle of the lineup. Those are some serious swing bouts. But I have the final score of the duel being 22-10. I say the Buckeyes make a big statement on the road against Ohio State. Or excuse me, against Virginia Tech. Why would I say, dang it? There goes my soundbite, Jared Lawrence. I'm going to do it again. I have the final score being 22-10. Ohio State Buckeyes make a serious statement in Blacksburg on the road. They contend. They say that they can contend for a national title. What do you have over there, Jared Lawrence?
Well, I'm still adding up because mine is different because I got Connor Brady.
Right.
So that's our swing guy.
Yes, you also have Mekhi Lewis.
Yep. And then I have my boy Ryder. I got to go with. I think he's actually going to pin because he's.
Oh my goodness!
He's a pinner.
He is a pinner.
I told you guys he's a pinner. And when this thing gets done, now he might be losing when he gets pinned, but
doesn't matter. They don't show those stats.
Yeah, I wish I would have known this was going to happen because now I'm looking really bad because I'm not as organized.
That's okay.
The question is, I'm going to go 3.
I did spring the fact that we were going to make predictions on you about 15 minutes
Yeah,
before
when you said predictions, I didn't know you were going to be writing down.
Oh, sorry.
Predictions. Okay, so I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm missing a match is my problem.
Okay, so let's run through them here.
I have 25 VTech, right? Just a normal win. I have Latona winning by 3. I have Henson winning by 3. I have Andonian. I think Andonian could he's so crazy. I have him maybe getting a pin.
Oh my goodness.
I'd like to take that.
+6.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so 65.
But then I have Connor Brady winning.
Okay, that's +3.
Is that right? Did we do that? Who'd you take?
I took Hepner.
Yeah.
+3.
Okay. Yep. And then I have Virginia Tech. I have Mekhi winning by 3.
Oh
And
my
then I have
goodness, they're running away with it.
Rogoski winning by 6.
Okay, so that's 6 for the Buckeyes.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And then 3 for the Buckeyes and 3 for the Buckeyes. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm missing.
Okay. Who do you have? 41. You're missing.
That's what it is. So
Mendez
by major.
Major. Okay. So right now your team score is.
It's a 5-5 split. They each have pins on both sides. It might come down to that major. Mendez's major.
So I have your final score being 21-16 in favor of the Hokies. That's interesting. You have it going the other way. I don't. There's a couple. Again, I guess it comes down to the swing matches.
It's one matchup. It's that Connor Brady, Bryce Hetner matchup. Like that's huge. That's a swing vote. That's a swing. That's 6 points.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That'll be a great duel. Okay, what else we got real quick? The only thing I wanted to mention, we have the journeyman duels. So this guy, Frank Papaluzio, is running 2 different events on the same weekend.
As you do. As a psychopath does.
He has a team tournament and an individual tournament.
Yep.
Going on. And it's not the same teams.
No. No, as a matter of fact, Wranglemania and the Collegiate Open they're both separate events, both awesome.
Yep.
Both awesome.
Now, we will see some matches, right? Right. So the Wranglemania duels, one thing you could see is at 125, you could see Noto and Figueroa. If they're both healthy, they wrestle each other. Lock Haven wrestles Arizona State.
Yes.
Right now, they're 1 and 2.
Yeah. Richie Figs is so good. Is so good.
They're 1 and 2.
But Noto's a hammer on top.
Yep. Now, we do have some other ones at the Journeyman Open. You could see Vito, and I'm not really good with how to pronounce names.
Go ahead.
But, you could definitely see, is it McGonigal, right? You could 1 and 6, right? You could see Bo Bartlett. I don't know if Penn State's throwing everybody out there. You just on from what I can see.
Sure.
Caposto.
The kid from UPenn.
Yeah, they're 1 and 7.
Yeah.
Right. I don't like the fact that we won't see Vanessa and Parco. They're in separate pools. So one of the coaches said, "Hey, we're gonna."
Which one do you think?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
We could see Levi Haynes versus Teamer, but we won't because they're in different pools. But we will see Teamer versus Shapiro, and I do like Shapiro, man.
Oh,
that dude is really, really slick.
Okay.
Now you're going against somebody that is really, really fast. So
yeah, but also really good defensively. And if I had gun to head, I'm taking Shapiro. And by the way, his dad yells at me every time I say Shapiro, so it's Shapiro.
Shapiro. Okay.
Yes.
Shapiro.
But
pirate.
Yes.
Got it.
Dude. Yeah.
He's good.
The kid's
but
really good.
That'll be a great match. That'd be a great match if it can happen. We have Hidley versus Beard, right? Beard's All-American.
Yep.
Trent Hidley, that's 197 pounds. That could happen, right? So that's pretty good there. We talked about that. The Michigan State Open. This is where most of the Big Ten is now. I don't know who's going to be there. Yeah. But you have, in the Big Ten, you have Illinois, you have Michigan State, Michigan, Northwestern, Ohio State's there, but I'm assuming it's going to be their non-varsity guys.
Sure.
You have Oklahoma, you got Wisconsin. That's a hell of a grind right there. If everybody could pool in their matches. Iowa's going to the Luther Open, right? There's not any other D1 schools here, but here's what I love about the Luther Open. It is like the very first tournament for D3 schools. So the main ones, you got Augsburg, you got Wartburg, right? You got UW Lacrosse. That's
tough.
Those are all top 5 D3 programs, and they all will go at it this weekend. St. Cloud, Upper Iowa, those are top 5 programs in D2. They're all at the Lutheran Open.
Yeah, that's solid, dude. That's a solid tournament.
Yeah. So the Bison though, here's what I don't like. The Bison for me used to be awesome. Like, it was a great warm up. There was all kinds of D2s, NAIA, just, like, it was like every bracket was at least a 16-man bracket, right? And you had, like, sometimes there was 32s where you get a pigtail. I heard there was only 70 kids registered for that tournament. It's basically Minnesota, NDSU, and some of South Dakota State. Like, what happened? What happened? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna have to do some digging.
Yeah.
But that seems odd to me. Maybe there's just so many other opens and stuff going on. But
yeah.
So
all right. Awesome, dude. Well, it was an absolute pleasure.
We got a little long.
We did. We got a little long. We're
supposed to be around 40.
Yeah, but we'll tighten it up next week. But next week, 8:30 Pacific, 10:30 Central, or wherever the heck you are. Don't forget to tune in. We'll be chopping this up, putting it on the socials. And thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in.
All right. See you, Mike.
See you.